So today the goal of the presentation will be about how I view the way of becoming an entrepreneur from the start to actually achieving something. Um, Overall, I see life as a game. So today we're gonna just try to play this game. Press start. Actually, it's not clickable, so don't try to click on the thing. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know what might happen. We all get assigned a character, like in a game. Although in our life, actually, we do not choose who we actually are. So we our existence comes to life when we are born. We don't decide how we look like. We don't decide in what location we've born in, all of that. But what we can actually command, what we can actually select is our skills. Skills is a main factor in becoming an entrepreneur. I was reading some questions there and I see people that are questioning how do I achieve something? Well, skills is something really important that will allow you to have enough value to create something or to actually gain money from it or whatever you want to achieve. To our presentation today will be about entrepreneurship, although you might have different goals and maybe this presentation will also help you. Okay. Another factor we'll talk about today is probability. It's not going to be a lecture about probability, but I'll share how probability actually can increase the outcomes of being an entrepreneur. Okay, we have different type of skills. You decide which one you want to be in. This is a very, it's like we have one side, one green and white. You can start to become a programmer, so you have more skills into coding, more career opportunities. Or otherwise, you start drinking. Gurav, I think you saw my slides. How did you understand the thing? But maybe he knows more than what I do. But obviously, this is very general. I didn't actually go towards programming at the beginning. I have different passions. I wasn't just already analytical. Okay, I have to become an entrepreneur. I have to do this and this and that. I actually started exposing myself and listening to my own passions. I was lucky to have a lot of passions when I was young. I started like fishing. Fishing taught me how to be patient. Then I moved into RC cars. I started building RC cars, so I started having this crafty skill. Then what did I do? Photography. Then I learned how to make photography, and then how to make videos. I will go more into that later on, how this actually helped my career now. Although this actually it's important because the skills you develop in your early days are actually the skills that will help you convert that value into actually something more tangible, which might be a service, a company, or a product you might create. So we have health, right? In life, we have our health. Then our health actually, affects our energy, our willpower. We all try to study after a hangover, and then obviously our concentration goes down on all of that. So our actions actually matter a lot. Eating, of course, this is a simple example. You have more energy, less hunger, or otherwise you can start, in a rock band, and then you improve your musicality, more face paint. Actually, yeah, that's actually a good point. I should try to do that as well. But yes, skills matter. But whatever skill you decide, there's also other fragments that you should start evaluating. The probability of you having the skill of computer, but also choosing filmmaker is much like the probability of you becoming an entrepreneur with skills and then choosing the filmmaker path is much less of a computer skill guy than that starts with programming and then okay, this is very Marcus. He's always in the conversation with also metaverse and all of that crazy things. But yeah, then he became a billionaire. He was lucky enough to choose a path that gave him more probability to achieve his ultimate goal. Then there are other skills like bouncing ball and knee, which, yeah, the probability of becoming an entrepreneur if you do this will be actually pretty low. but maybe you guys have other skills that actually are not helpful. If you want to write them in the chat just to have fun a little bit. And yeah, you could become viral for one day by bouncing a ball on a knee, but then I don't think that will help much. Another important aspect is a combination of skills. Sometimes we go to university and we think that if we go study for business economics or whatever you study, we have to really become a master on that skill. But life is much more than that. We have to have a multi-skilled view about everything. In this case, we have business, confidence, and psychology. Obviously, there's much more to that, but a combination of skills allows you to be more, your level of your character levels up much higher. Okay. It's the same thing with psychology or confidence. You can't be too confident and then don't think about the business part or the psychology part, Other skills also could help you in different ways. Then you decide what you want to go for. Yeah, this is a nice one. Another aspect, which is actually determined a lot of my decisions in life and my achievements, is actually our view on reward. How does reward actually work? Like, we think that the better we do things, the more reward we're gonna have. Is it actually like that? Like, is it that's actually the case? I don't think so. Like, you can build the best product ever, but if you don't expose yourself as much, you won't achieve. You won't have a reward as of a person that actually impacts people. It's not about your product as much, but it's of how much your service, your entrepreneurial efforts actually impact people. And how do you do this? How do you impact as much people as possible? You do this by, for example, being in the right location. Are you living in the right location that actually increases the opportunity of being an entrepreneur? I moved, for instance, I'm Italian. I moved from Padova, which was my hometown. I was born there, did high school there, school there, and then I moved to Amsterdam for studies. I started with economics and business, so I moved myself in a new location, new behavior, new culture, new like international people. I discovered myself again in a way. I just started my path, my new life in a new way. But I didn't know that actually Amsterdam would have given me much more like probability of becoming what I want to be. I always had in mind that I want to become an entrepreneur, but I never actually knew how. I also still in the understanding, but then location actually helped a lot. Listening. This is one of the most, I would say, one of the most important things. Like, if you don't listen, you won't achieve much in the sense of that. If you don't know your environment, if you're not willing to, for example, we listen to David. If you're not willing to listen to David for 15 minutes because you think you have already something to say, then trust me, you won't do much, unfortunately, because we have to be humbled enough to listen from people that actually made already the things we want to be in, So that's something we tend to speak because we want to show people that we know. But next time, try to listen more and look more around you to understand how the world works and if you're passionate about marketing, then listen and look what other people are already doing and try to understand how those things work. Experiment. I learned how to program myself. I built my startup by coding, but before that, of course, it was much more rusty. I was building things for myself, and I was experimenting. I was coding applications that actually didn't have any use in the real world. I was developing, for instance, Instagram bots that would create posts for me. And then I would just randomly pick quotes online, create the image by automatically through this bot. These pages are actually online. You can go check them out. I don't do that anymore. But these all things that don't actually help much in the real world, but actually gives you the time to experience and apply your skills for something. So don't be scared of doing things that actually won't turn up on anything, but try to test out things in order to be ready for when the actual opportunity comes. This gave me the opportunity to learn a programming language. That doesn't matter what you're doing it for, but you are building skills again. You're improving the probability of being ready for the right moment. You can't decide on probability that you opportunities just come, but you can increase the probability of opportunities by doing all the things we are talking about today. Confidence. When you start, you don't have enough experience to show and be trustworthy with facts. My first clients, I managed to get my first clients with I have a marketing agency. I started a marketing agency a few years ago. I was passionate about Facebook ads, marketing ads, like Google ads, all of that stuff. And I already knew how to develop websites because of my previous passions. And I presented myself to the meetings with confidence. In my mind, I knew that actually I didn't know much of what we were talking about or what we could actually achieve in the future. But I was behaving in a confident way in order that they would trust my skills, So that's very important to start off with. Try to develop your confidence. You develop confidence with being around people, by getting passionate, by knowing more things, by doing sports. Like, get confident about something you really know that allows you to actually move back a little bit. Confidence is not about like I'm confident, like I'm on you. Confidence is about being calm enough and give calm to other people as well. That's my point of view. Friends. They say that friends is the family that you choose. That's actually really true. Although friends also help you in your career. I actually valued that a lot. Unfortunately, the probability of your classmates to become entrepreneurs is actually really low. So I'm not saying to like I don't want to stay with you because you're not going to become an entrepreneur, but since you know that, then expose yourself to other people out there and make friends with actually people that already obtained what you want to become. My solution was co-working places. I was after the first clients, I had enough budget to rent a dedicated desk, which is actually a desk inside an office that also other people can join. This was the first time that I saw big companies like tangible. I saw like this is like the office of Airbnb back in the days. Back in the days seems like so many years ago, and that's probably 4 years ago or something. But this was Airbnb's office in Amsterdam. One seat in this small office, and it was like, wow, this is the first time I see a big. I mean, from Padova, it's difficult from Padova in Italy to see this kind of picture. But here, I had this like thing. Whoa! I touched the logo on Airbnb's here. Like, this means companies started from somewhere. We always see these big companies, but everyone started from a small place, from a small office in this case. I rented the space there. I got to know more people, more entrepreneurs, and all of that stuff that actually I got inspired from. Going back to listening, I started listening. You can speak too much when you don't know much still. Like I expose myself with like listening. What like w- also a secret with networking. If you want to network with the right people, you can. It's a game of give and take. You know, sometimes you have to give more. But if you go to a kind of co-working space and you start asking for how do you become an entrepreneur? How do you do this and that? People are not willing to share everything, but you have to be there when they share some insightful information so you can just get the most out of it. Know when to pivot. This is actually an important aspect. I'm getting a little bit late with the time, but it's fine. Pivoting is actually really important because you have to be aware on when you have to change your path. Before building Bellel.io, I actually was building a actually before Bellel.io, I was actually building a candle business. Why a candle business? Because it was the easiest way for me to build a product and just start with that. Like I had to start with something. Then I liked candles. Why don't I just build a candle company and build the branding behind it? So I start understanding how things work. Never sold one candle in my life. Sad story. But then I moved to the marketing. Then I moved to this software company, which is my current business right now, which I'm hiring people, and I'm getting much more into the world of entrepreneurship. Scalability is another important aspect about pivoting, and one of the main reasons I pivoted. Having a marketing agency is not that scalable. You know, it is scalable in the sense that you can hire people and then go on that, but it won't scale that much as similarly maybe to a software. Once you build a software, you can hire more people and grow your team, but then once the software is done, it can expand worldwide, also maybe to Mars if Elon Musk uh, does something great. But you don't have to be there every time, you know. So I'm inviting you to get into this. Is my business going to be scalable? You know, so but it doesn't have to be from the beginning. Okay, I'm getting to this guy is really boring. My God. All right. Um, love. Oh my God. How many heartbrokens do we have in the chat? Like sometimes we try to fill our insecurities. With entrepreneurship, you have a lot of stuff that you have to deal with, problems, all of that. And sometimes you feel like we have to get, oh, I need to have a girl or something. But actually, before having a long-term relationship, highly advise work on yourself. Spend time with yourself, knowing what you like, and then your life becomes more interesting, and then you can accept a more. But this is not a love session, so maybe money. Everyone thinks about entrepreneurship about like money. Money is like it's the end goal. You shouldn't make your decisions based on money. You should make the decisions based on probability. Is this gonna make me the money in the future? Is this gonna be um, helpful enough? Is this gonna be scalable enough? And all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, we're gonna be old. We're gonna wear more comfortable pants, hear less, which is actually better. And yeah, that's it.